Hello, and welcome to the Path of Most Persistence. This is a place where we hear and share tenacious stories of overcoming obstacles with our partners who dare to share a bit of their own personal paths. Kimberly Bradford Brown is the Deputy Chief of Staff for Texas Workforce Commissioner Aaron Demerson and the author of a children's book, A Girl Whose Name is Magic. The book debuted on Amazon in December of last year and was a #1 new release for the day, making Kimberly a #1 selling author. The book serves to remind girls of all ages that extraordinary is simply ordinary with a little extra. Kimberly prides herself on focusing on the positive in life. She is the co-host of a radio show podcast named The Better Show. The show intends to remind us that we can all and must move forward to be better every day. You can listen in online on Wednesdays at 9:30 a.m. on KAZI 88.7. Kimberly has lived in the Austin Cedar Park, Texas area for the past 30 years. She has 2 daughters named Kennedy and Carrington and 1 grandson, Carson. Kimberly, it is lovely having you here today. Thank you so much for traveling over to College Station.
It's great to be here. It was a beautiful trip over from Austin, and I'm just super excited to be here.
Oh, I really love it, and I'm going to try to contain my enthusiasm. But again, I always like to be transparent with our audience, and just to give them a little bit of a background, I met you through the good Commissioner Demerson.
Yes.
And I just want to say that every time I have engaged, well, honestly, the entire Workforce Commission, but since we're talking about you and your office, your whole office, you being the Chief Deputy
Chief. Yes.
I think that you're doing a tremendous job with your team. Every interaction is always consistently professional. It is very accommodating, and you can feel with every interaction. It doesn't mean it goes beyond just a conversation, but if it's an email, any kind of correspondence, you can feel the passion and the love for what you do. So I want to commend you for leading that team in that way, and I want to also give a shout out to Commissioner Demerson for the selection of his team members, because it is true that his team represents him.
Thank you so much. It's a tremendous honor, first of all, to be here and talk with you, Dr. Segovia. You are a rock star in our book, and so I'm excited to be here. Speaking of the good Commissioner Demerson, I don't have enough good things to say about him. He is definitely very passionate about his work with the people of the state of Texas. Yes. He represents all of the employers and business owners within the state, and he takes that job very seriously. And so it's important to him for us to come up with programs and ideas that would benefit the entire state. And so he gives us the opportunity to go into the treasure troves of our minds and find out what's there and see how we can bring those opportunities to the forefront for the employers and the businesses of the state. One thing about Texas Workforce Commission, I've been there for over 21 years, and have to say that we're one of the best kept secrets in the state of Texas.
That's true.
And Commissioner Demerson is making it his mission to make sure that that's no longer true. That we are no longer the best kept secret, but we're just the best program, the best agency for the state of Texas.
I love it. And the thing is, I'm just going to spend a little bit more time on this. The thing is, as you speak about the effort, the work, the intentionality of being the best, the beauty of the commissioner, your team, is that you feel that passion, you feel that desire to be the best, but it's in a way that is so welcoming with all the other agencies, all the other commissioners, everyone. So it's competitive almost within yourself, and it's not intimidating to any colleagues or anyone that might be doing similar work. It's only about doing the best for the people of Texas and bringing in all of the partners. And so the commissioner, and for that matter, the other commissioners as well. I so appreciate them in their work. But speaking specifically, again, because you're here in front of me, your office, the team that Commissioner Demerson brought together, you can feel that passion. And for those of us that are like-minded in that way, that are truly fueled by the spirit and the mission of our work, I just want to thank you. And for hopefully all of our listeners, if you don't know, hopefully you will know. Yes. You'll know soon. And hopefully they'll be even more intrigued and invested to do a little bit more research. Or maybe have their ears perk up when they hear TWC,
That's
the Texas
right.
Workforce Commission.
Texas Workforce Commission, not to be confused with Time Warner Cable. Yes. But you spoke of our desire to collaborate. And one of the things that our team probably gets tired of me saying is that teamwork does definitely make the dream work. And for us, that team is it's a living, breathing thing.
Yes.
It's not just the people that reside within our office, but it's our partners and our collaborators and all of those people throughout the state of Texas, the associations, the business associations, the industry associations that really do the work. And I can't forget, I have to say, about our 28 workforce boards throughout the state that are different in their own right because they're local, but they intentionally do the work of the Texas Workforce Commission within their local communities, making an impact statewide within their region and within their local workforce board area. So yes, like I said, I've been with the agency for over 21 years.
Yes.
And before that, I worked for a national nonprofit. So it's just in my DNA to do something to help people. And I've always been so blessed at the Texas Workforce Commission. I started there with the late Larry Temple, who was our executive director for many years.
Yes.
And got to see where all the bodies were buried. And I say that in jest, but, when you're dealing with state government, or maybe I should say where all the red tape lies, I don't know. But it gave me a bird's eye view to be able to help not only the agency, but the boards and the people that we help understand, yes, it's government. There is a level of bureaucracy, but we are here to help. And let me show you how to do that. And that's how we work from our office. How do you get to the yes?
Love it.
Yes. How do we get to yes? I understand that there are guardrails,
absolutely,
so to speak, but they're there for a reason.
Absolutely. And
it's important for us to be very mindful and great stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. But the taxpayers are our customers, and so we want to make sure that we're not only utilizing those dollars correctly and to the greatest benefit of the people within the state and the state itself, but to also make sure that we're impacting personal lives. That's right. And that's how we in Commissioner Demerson's office look at everything. We want to impact people because people are who make up the state.
That's exactly right.
Totally understand that the employers and the businesses are the ones that are the lifeblood as far as the economy is concerned. Absolutely. Because without our employers and businesses, there is no economy. That's right. But they're people as well. Yes. And truly, especially during COVID, one thing that we found out is that employers and business owners, they love their people. They really want their people to succeed and to do well. And yes, it's good for business, but it's also good for life. And that's how we work.
You're speaking my language, so many things. So again, just for transparency, I do happen to sit on the Houston-Galveston Workforce Board. So my awareness of every angle of the Texas Workforce Commission has been enlightened over the years. But I can tell you, going back to when I was a high school principal, just being cognizant and aware of it, and it just so happened that my career has aligned, and our mission, as it has been for the Nuclear Power Institute, has always been about workforce development. So I've had, again, the good fortune to align myself with you all in our mission. But you mentioned Larry Temple, and I feel like I need to acknowledge him as well, as he left us way too soon. When I first started working for TEAS, the Nuclear Power Institute, he was the executive director at the time, and he, again, was just another individual that was just willing to find a path forward. At the time, Commissioner Demerson was in a different role, a different office, but it was just from those early years, and that always planted a seed early on, even though I wasn't able to make direct moves or adjustments or programming at the time, but I knew you all honestly were a beacon of what needed to happen in the state of Texas, of those of us that were working on or in education, working with young people, aspiring. Obviously, that's what education is about.
Absolutely.
Of course, producing wonderful, productive citizens, but also filling the workforce. So it is always, you all have always been a beacon. So again, I want to acknowledge all the other team members that I will never be able to mention and name, but I salute you all in the work you do day to day, because I know it's not easy.
Yes, but it is definitely rewarding. And one more thing about Larry is that he was bound and determined to make sure that everyone realized that Texas Workforce Commission was the conduit to connect job seekers and employers, that we are not the unemployment office. That is not our number one thing that we do. Yes, that is part of what we do.
Right.
But our job is to connect job seekers to employers, and that starts as early as middle school.
Okay, so let's go there. I wasn't quite ready to go there, but we're going to go there because you said something amazing. Okay. So, speaking about those days with Larry being in that position, to me that all goes back to leadership. Now, he was the executive director, but the executive director, the leader, the director, the commissioners, they can only do so much, right? They can set the tone, they can set the example, but again, it's all those that follow them and are in those positions. Right. But what have you learned over the year? I know you sit in a leadership role yourself, but what have you learned about those leaders that came before you, that you sat next to, or what you continue to learn from them?
For me, I've been so fortunate, and I know that my story is probably different than a lot of people, but I was really fortunate to be aligned with people that really had a heart for people, that really saw through the guidelines and saw to the people. How can I most effectively and efficiently get this program out to maximize the benefit to the greatest number of people?
Yes.
And with Larry, that was always his bottom line. And considering that I have always been in roles that were, in a way, service to public service to the community, that I just fell in lockstep with him. And to be able to see him do that as the executive director of one of the largest agencies within the state of Texas, and build that into the culture, even in your finance department, even in your training department, all of the departments were brought into this thought that we are working for the people of the state of Texas, the people of the state of Texas, and not, we're not working for the programs.
Yes.
And that makes a world of difference. And also doing things, and this is my wording, decent and in order. And so that means efficiency And efficiency and government sometimes are not looked at on the same field.
Yes.
They may be in the
Yes.
same ballpark, but not
Yes.
on the same field. Larry was so committed to efficiency that he started a process improvement program within our agency, and that flooded through other state agencies. Everyone was interested in total process improvement. They wanted to see where the hiccups were, where the bottlenecks were, and believe it or not, they exist in everything. So those are some of the ways that I was influenced. And so when it comes to me doing my work within Commissioner Demerson's office as Deputy Chief of Staff, I call myself lead cheerleader or head cheerleader because I am that person that, yes, we brainstorm and we come up with great ideas like our Texas Interns Unite program that is being greatly impacted to the point that we've received funding for next year to be able to do the program again next year. And I personally see that as a perpetual program within the agency because employers are so in need of workers that's just a natural thing to be able to bring them in before they've graduated, get them acclimated with the culture of your organization, and there you have it. You have an employee that is loyal because they understand you know, and not unpaid internships. Paid internships are so important, and there we are again partnering with other agencies to make it even better for employers, like Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, who has their Tex Works program that will assist employers in paying those interns. So that's how we do business within the commissioner's office that represents employers, is making sure that we have all of the brain trust at the table, all of the partners at the table, so that we can have a successful collaboration to be able to get the greatest programs out to the people of the state of Texas possible.
So good. You said many things, but a few things I want to focus on. So one of the things you said was the program that Larry Temple initiated with efficiency. Now, I'm so happy you brought that up. I want to say that word again and again, efficiency, because so many times from different directions, we hear derogatory comments or negative comments about government works, about it being inefficient. And it's such a joy sitting with, again, the Texas Workforce Commission, you in your position, speaking to the intentionality about being efficient, being mindful of those tax dollars, being mindful of the needs about the people of Texas. So again, it is wonderful to have that conversation with you. And then again, hopefully all of our listeners will know there are positive things that do happen on the day-to-day, and it is intentional, and it is about efficiency. So we don't always have to lean back on their stereotypical thoughts about government and agency, because that's not the whole story. As a matter of fact, that is not the majority of the story.
That's
so
correct.
Thank you for speaking to that.
Yes. Would love to single-handedly change the paradigm of I'm from the government and I'm here to help. For that to be a positive thought, and the first thought that people have, that there are programs within our state government that are not, giveaways, so to speak, or punitive programs, but they are programs that are beneficial. And there again, yes, they do have guardrails, but they're there for a purpose, to be able to, for the greater good. And we have to be truthful and admit that there are businesses out there that need assistance. There are employers out there that need assistance, and those employers have employees that need assistance. Therefore, our training programs. We have self-sufficiency programs. We're working with justice involved. Anything that deals with work Texas Workforce Commission is on it, and that includes child care.
Yes, and foster care.
And foster care. So that's why I say, talk about the best kept secret.
Yes.
If someone were, and our website just doesn't do it.
And it couldn't,
exactly.
Even with all the talent, you just can't tell the complete story. And that's why these conversations are so important.
Absolutely.
But, I love another comment that you made about the Texas Unite program, how it was just a natural thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a natural thing to do. But things like that just don't happen.
That's the part.
Yes, and that's what I love so much about the commission and the commissioners, that there are opportunities before us all the time, but it takes visionaries. It takes people that see things that other people don't see, and not only see it, but to act on it.
That's right.
And act on it in such a way that you're bringing in the best talent that you have, the best opportunity. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned these types of programs being of benefit, but I see it not only as a benefit, but it's aspirational, because I've seen those students. Mm-hmm. I've been there, and I see that it does bring benefit to them, tying the future employers with the future employees, but it provides them something to aspire to be,
right.
An encouragement level that we need to do that for all of our young people. I mean, our whole population, of course.
Right.
But when you talk about Interns Unite, those young people, our future, to inspire them and bring in the wisdom and the resources from throughout the state, again, it's inspirational.
And you're absolutely right. And the thing is that you don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
It's even a greater deficit for our students, and an even greater deficit for our students of color.
Yes.
And an even greater deficit for our students who live in economically disadvantaged areas.
That's right.
And so if you think about how you don't know what you don't know is expounded by all of those things.
Yes.
It's incumbent upon us,
yes, it is,
as government,
yes,
to make sure that the playing field is leveled in some way, and the best way for that to happen is through knowledge.
That's right.
And knowledge exchange, and giving students and just Texas citizens, period,
right,
the exposure to those programs or to those industries. I mean, we're so blessed to be contacted by so many different industries,
yes,
that even our folks in our office are like, really? Never knew that existed.
Yes.
And not that we didn't know it existed, but we didn't think about the fact that there are jobs,
yes,
in that industry, and that industry needs workers as well.
And that's the beauty of partnerships, because even the most well-intentioned person within an office, within a sector, even with the best intentions to see out and what is possible, it is quite different if that is not your day-to-day. That's why, again, these collaborations, bringing in people from different sectors, different experiences, so that they can bring a perspective that you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
So that is, again, the beauty of so much of your work and the programming that I just simply adore.
Thank you. And I could go on and on about this, because if there's something that we can't do within our office, because truth be told, our office is policy and making sure that the programs are able to run effectively, and we get the fun benefit of doing some special projects. But we know who to direct you to. If it's not within the Texas Workforce Commission, it may be the Comptroller's Office. It may be Texas Education Agency. It may be Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. But because we've developed those relationships and an understanding of what those agencies do, we're able to make that warm handoff to those other agencies, where someone doesn't feel like, okay, I'm stuck and I don't have an answer. We want to always be able to offer an answer. And honestly, sometimes the answer is no. but that is an answer, and people can go on and maybe look for another route to do whatever thing it is that they want to do.
I love it. And again, you're right. We could talk about this on, but I want to intentionally pivot and talk about your children's book.
Yes.
Now, listen, when I first found out that you had written a book, I was thrilled for so many reasons. First of all, if someone were to say, Deputy Chief of Staff, she writes children's books? Wait a minute. So I love to speak with individuals, women, that have layers to them, that have many different layers and areas of interest and talent. So when I see someone of your caliber, the seat you sit in, and to know that you also have written a children's book, it delights me. So I want to spend some time, and I hope you would spend a little time sharing your book to camera so that everyone can see it, and if you can talk about your book.
Oh gosh, this when you said layers, you totally described me. I am certainly not a parfait. I am an onion. I'm definitely an onion with
a sweet onion,
a sweet, very sweet onion. That's right, with many layers. But one part of me, and I say it's the bigger part, and I also say it's the better part, is that creative side, and that side that constantly wants to connect through that creative side. And I've, from the time I was 5 years old, I loved to write. I wrote poems. I was actually published in the 2nd grade.
Well, excuse me, I would have added that into your introduction.
I know, right? I had a poem published in The Seedlings, which was a book that I grew up in Louisiana, so our parish, Caddo Parish, had a little book that they let kids submit to, and I submitted, and one of my poems was accepted, and so I got to go to the little program. So at a very young age.
Okay, let me just interject with a question. Please tell me you still have that book.
I'm sure it's somewhere in my mom's attic.
Okay, well, continue, but I just had to know. Okay.
And as a kid, that was a wonderful thing to be able to have, that type of recognition. And I always liked to write. Always like to express myself, to my parents' chagrin. Get the story about my 3-year-old daycare provider saying, Kimberly Bradford, could you please be quiet? So in that, when I'm not able to speak, I would write, and I journaled. And always saw myself being an author. Of course, I always saw myself being an author of an adult book, because that's just, never saw a children's book. I just never did. But I was writing one day, and in my journal, and I always have a journal with me no matter where I am. And I just wrote a girl whose name is Magic. And I was like, where'd that come from? And I know it kind of stemmed around girl power, black girl magic, and those kinds of things. And being a girl mom at the time, just always saw the need to remind my daughters. And in that, I always say that when I speak to others, I'm speaking to myself as well. And so, just reminding them that they can do or be anything that they want to be. The power is within them, and to also stay connected to the source. And the source for me happens to be God, but whatever, that is for whomever.
That's right.
Just know that there is a source that you must be connected to be able to be your true self. And so I always reminded my daughters of that, and knew that I needed to get that word out to every little girl that existed, to remind them that you are magic. You can do anything that you want to do. And even the little bitty things in life, learning to tie your shoe, learning to swim, learning to comb your own hair, learning to apply your own makeup, whatever your passion is, whatever that little thing is that makes you better, focus on those things. And so A Girl Whose Name is Magic really stemmed from that. And so I went on the pursuit on how to publish. In my mind, I'm thinking, some big publisher is going to want to talk to me because I have this really great idea. And to my chagrin, it didn't really work out that way. But I'm very pleased at the fact that I was able to get this particular book out because I am a believer that when you make one step, the rest of the steps will follow. So I have to be very proud of myself for this. Absolutely. Because it's just a book that empowers girls. And I've had the opportunity to go out and do some readings with some elementary and middle school students. And kids ask me questions like, what fencing? What is that? And it was important to me to put some things in the book that may not be familiar. That's right. Because there again, like we spoke about earlier, exposure. That's right. And you don't know what you don't know, but when you learn, it not only gives you knowledge on that thing, but it makes you want to go out and look and what else is out there that I don't know. That's right. And the book starts at age 4. With Little Girl Magic, and it's not one central character. Yes. Each character on each page is different. Yes. Because I wanted, it was important to me for every little girl to be able to see herself or some element of herself within each page of the book. So I didn't want to make it into one character. And just wanted to remind them that no matter what age you are, from 4 to 18, which is where the book kind of ends at age 18, you can do it. Whatever. And it was important for me also to put STEM in there because when you think of girls as a whole, and I'm not one for blanket statements, but generally girls aren't the first people that you think of when you think of STEM.
Well, and it's a fact that there's an underrepresentation if you just look at the numbers. That it's just a fact.
It is. Yeah. And so I wanted girls to be inspired by that. And we'd also spoken earlier about jobs that you don't realize exist, like Hollywood. When you say Hollywood, you automatically think of actors and actresses. Yes. But guess what? There are people making awesome livings building costumes, that's right, building scenes, yes, doing makeup,
or writing the stories,
or
so that
writing
they can't,
the stories.
Yes, the
absolutely,
scripts, so
absolutely.
They can act. Yeah.
So there are just so many layers to life and layers to learning, and it's so important to be in a mindset of lifelong learning. And that was another thing that I hope the book would spur, is to encourage girls and young women and women, because I see myself as magic as well. That my opportunities are boundless. That's because right. I feel that I am boundless. I don't believe in fear. I tell my daughters that, literally I say fear is a liar. And so I have to do whatever I must do within myself to muster the ability to overcome that fear, because I say fear is a liar. I didn't say it doesn't exist. That's right. And so what do I have to do? How can I learn more about myself so that I can know that I can overcome that fear and move forward? Because on the other side of fear is success. And so, that's my whole premise with everything I do, including my podcast. Or my radio show, because it's called The Better Show. And a funny story is that the producer, when we were talking about producing the show, he kept saying, and the best show. And I'm like, no, I know that everyone thinks that best is better than better, but actually better is better than best. And he's like, wait, what do you mean
I love that.
Better is better than best? And I said, so think about this. If you're in the Olympics, yes, and you run in the 40-yard dash. Look, obviously I know nothing about track, right?
That's
Why did I pick that analogy?
It's good.
you broke a record.
Yes.
Okay. And guess what? Next year, somebody else or even you can do better.
That's right.
And break that record. So it's incumbent upon us as a human race to be in a perpetual state of better.
Because it's almost as if best is the destination and better is the journey. Is the ongoing
Absolutely.
Persistence
every day
to keep bettering.
That's right. And so in being in, and that's another thing, the perpetual state of better, what does that look like? Well, I don't know what that looks like for you. I can only know what that looks like for me. And guess what? It may look different from yesterday than it does today. So true. But it's a mindset, mm-hmm. and mindset to me is everything. So if
that is magic.
Yes. And that's all I got. Because that is my elevator speech about me as a person. And because I feel this way, I want everyone to feel the way that I do, because I constantly have peace. I constantly have joy. And, on a personal level, that's awesome. But to be able to be so whole in that and to take that kind of attitude to work even makes my life better. So
I love it. So many things you said. Oh my goodness, you're such an amazing role model and example.
Thank you.
So before we pivot to your podcast, because I want to spend some time on that, but let me tell you, so when I was handed this book by Commissioner Demerson, he said, you need to take a look at this book. And I said, wow, first of all, it's beautiful. So we were in the middle of a meeting, and he hands it to me, and first thing, I touch it, I look at it, because it almost feels as though there's textures to it, because the illustrations are so beautiful. And as I flip through it, because I'm thinking of that valuable time I have with the commissioner, so I'm trying to stay on target, but I couldn't help myself from flipping through, and I thought, okay, these illustrations are beautiful. So I put it aside, and as soon as I got home, I read it. And I thought it was lovely. And from my perspective, it was lovely as a woman of a certain age and stage. I appreciated it, and it made me think, and it's part of, I guess, maybe something that fuels my passion in what I do. I remember very distinctly, growing up, the different stages of my life, and, being keenly aware of the children, the kids around me, and how we all change, not only year to year, because I grew up in a small town, so, whoever you started kinder with, that's who you graduate with, basically. But, how we all morphed and changed. But what I love about this book is that just the reminder that you're magic, that you're capable, that you're able, that you're beautiful. And it really touched me, because I know there are certain stages that I'm going to use the word majority of children, and since we're focusing on young women, I'm going to say women, where even if they started off the most confident, the most loving, the resilient, there comes a time, I think for most of us, in your life where you lose it.
Yes.
It may be just in that moment, or it might be for years, where you lose that confidence in yourself.
Yeah. I say your shine is dulled.
Yes. And it might have been intentionally dulled for you. It might have been something you've just picked up because from what swirls around you.
Yes.
But I remember, my own personal experiences of things, but witnessing that for which people around me. And I think that was part of my desire to be in education, because it's a travesty when anyone loses their light, but most definitely children. So thank you so much, because our chat today has been, and I use this word a lot, but I use it intentionally. It's been beautiful to hear your work, your passion, and especially this work of art and creativity that you produced, because it is lovely that you were so thoughtful in continuing the different layers of young women, because you did represent different women. So thank you for that. It was, it motivated me in my thoughts of of expression of art. And so I want to applaud you for that.
Thank you.
And encourage, our audience. And I don't know if you want to read an excerpt of it? Or,
oh, sure.
Yes,
I would love to do
that.
this. I have to say that I have to give mad kudos to my illustrator.
I'm so glad you did.
Yes,
I was hoping you
absolutely. Letitia Wicker. She's like a daughter to me now. She's actually my daughter's age. So when we do things at my house now, she's a part of that.
Yes.
Love her so much. But I have to say that I met with her once and immediately knew that she was the person that I wanted because she sent me some renderings of just the cover and everything that I had expressed to her, because I'm visual in that I see what I want. I'm just not artistic in that I can put it on the paper. But she does that for me. She was a total extension of me in being able to put my words and my thoughts for each of the pages onto paper.
She got you.
And she totally got me. And that doesn't always happen.
No.
I hear other stories of I've gone through 5 illustrators and I'm like, sorry, she's mine. And
one and done.
Yes. And it was just so powerful. Have very few edits on any of the illustrations that she gave to me. And before I start the reading, if you don't mind, I have to talk about my dedication page.
Oh, please do.
I'm a daddy's girl. My parents to this day laugh at the fact that I ask them when I go and visit them in Louisiana, can y'all remind me why I left home? It feels so safe here, and I know that I'm loved, and there's no better feeling than that. And so I did dedicate my book to my daughters, Kennedy and Carrington, and my grandson, Carson, my mom and dad, and I have 2 younger brothers, but nobody knows that I'm the oldest because I'm the only girl, so I really take advantage of that. And my 2 aunts and my grandmothers, who were very strong women. And when I say that, I meant that they were strength in character and spirit, but they were soft. And I say that in heart. And so they mean a lot to me. And I was blessed enough to be able to meet my great-grandmother. Wow. And she was a very quiet woman and just not very few words, but her eyes told everything. And I have a T-shirt that says, "You don't have to hear me, just look at my face." And I'm sure that I got that attribute from her. And all of my ancestors, I put that in there because I believe that we are all in this world connected in some way. And so that was my way of saying that this is dedicated really to anyone that gets it. So I explained that, so I hope now everybody gets it.
I do as well.
And so, again, the title is A Girl Whose Name is Magic. Sure. And you can purchase it on Amazon. Can I say that?
And you can speak to camera if you want to show any of your pages as well.
Sure. You can purchase it on Amazon. And, can you... Okay. Hi. My parents call me Magic. I am in pre-K. It was my dad that showed me how to draw and color this way. And again, I'm a daddy's girl, so that was totally for my dad. And I'll skip a little bit. Hi, my name is Magic, and I am 11 right now. I'm working hard on my fencing skills so that I can be an Olympian somehow.
I love it.
And I had to make sure that I said, to set your sights high, aim far beyond the sky, because your name is Magic, you were made to fly. And okay, I'm trying not to get misty here.
That's okay.
But it's it took me about 15 minutes to write the words, but to be able to have legacy means a lot to me.
Yes.
And to leave something, not only for my family, but for other people to know that I believe in them. And so believe in yourself, because you have the power to be the change, whatever that change is. I often remind my children that perspective is about 95% of reality. Mm-hmm. And so that if you can be the change maker to change someone's perspective, or to even change your own perspective, you've done a great service to mankind. Because I feel like I continue to say, you don't know what you don't know. And the more we expose people to each other, the better the world will be.
So true.
And so that's my objective with, like, the book, of course, and my podcast, The Better Show.
So lovely. Thank you for sharing,
yes,
and
ma'am.
Thank you for reading some of those lovely pages. And I want to know, turning a bit to your podcast, did you? I know you talk about wanting to share, but where did the whole concept, the desire to have a podcast, and what can you talk about? Maybe also a guest that you've had on, a conversation that you've had on that really made a difference in your life?
Yes, definitely. Well, the idea for the show came from my quest to live in my purpose.
Yes.
That has been for, I would say, the last 5-10 years. I've been slowly moving into understanding what my purpose is, and how I can make my purpose an integral part of my life, and be able to impact other people through my purpose, because I'm a firm believer that a gift is given, but it's also to share.
Yes.
And so I want to know what my gift is and to be able to share that gift. And so in doing that, I knew that automatically that I'm creative. I'm a creative. I love to write, talk, all of those kind of things. And I also had a heart for people. And I knew that I wanted people to be able to internally affirm themselves. Mm-hmm. And so how can I get inside, people's heads and help them to understand the journey that I've taken to that level of understanding of myself, and therefore feeling good about myself. How can I get other people to that space? And having done a radio show before, I initially wanted it to be a podcast, and I think I've mentioned to you before, I haven't quite gotten to that place where it's a podcast, but it is a radio show on 88.7 KAZI, and it can also be reached on www.kazifm.org.
That's right.
On Wednesdays at 9:30, and we just totally discuss everything in life that can be better. I have a co-host, Lisa Martin, and when we initially started, we were like, oh, yes, we can talk about better health, we can talk about better finances, better eating, better, we were naming all these betters, and the list started growing so long, I was like, Lisa, I think we can talk about better everything. So the show, whereas we have a plan and a format, it's a pretty free-flowing show.
Yes.
Where we sometimes, it's just Lisa and I talking about self-affirmation. Mm-hmm. We find that to be so very important. We call our listeners family, because we are family. Yes. All of us on this earth are family. And so we use that sincerely in talking to our family, that you must learn to affirm yourself.
Yes.
And in doing that, we encouraged everyone to write a self-affirmation, your personal affirmation. And we were like, if you don't have one, you need to write one. It was the most therapeutic thing I had ever done, was writing my personal affirmation. And I just started it off as, I am Kimberly. I am beautiful. And just saying those things about me that existed, and those things about me that I wanted to exist.
Yes.
And even things that I was having problems with, like forgiveness, to be able to say, I am able to forgive.
Yes.
Within that, because I believe that practice does not make perfect. There is no perfect, but practice does make permanent. And so as I practice my personal affirmation, that's just the steps, one of the steps in being better. And so that's the basic premise of the show, that all of the resources that we offer, all of the guests that we have on the show that are willing to speak about their story and encourage people to know that you're not the only person dealing with this type of situation. There are other people that deal with the same thing, and these are the resources. This is how they got through. That may not necessarily be the way that you get through, but do know to stop where you are.
That's right.
Gather yourself and see the best way for you to be able to move towards better. And we've had community leaders on the show. We've had Secretary of State's office on the show, reminding people to go and get registered, make sure you understand what the registration requirements in your area are to vote, because Lisa and I, being on the World Wide Web, believe that we're listened to all over the world.
That's right.
So whatever it is that you need to do for your area, know what that is and go and get registered to vote, because your vote is your voice. And we actually, in the month of June, focused on Men's Health Month. And we wanted to kind of get down and dirty with the guys and remind them that you're magic too.
That's
and
exactly
that
right.
you can be better too. And what does that look like? So we had hospital administrator on to let men know that the Austin area has a men's health clinic and how that can benefit you. During that month, we talked about fatherhood and the different dynamics of that. We had a stepfather on, we had a traditional father, and we had a father that was shared custody. So we really tried to just open everything up and not have any secret places that can't be talked about. In that month, we also had an overcomer. We had a gentleman that had been incarcerated for a long time. And the story of him getting out and being able to reacclimate into society and find employment, find housing, and be able to find a community, because community is so important for success. For anyone's success.
Everyone needs support.
That's right.
Everyone needs support.
We talk a lot about our tribe and the importance of having a support system that is encouraging and that brings out the better in you. And so those are, some of the things that we discuss on the show, and we're always open to having people on the show that are positive and have an encouraging word, and that can offer information that may not be known.
That's right.
And so that's what we really focus and strive for. And it's been a great ride. We're approaching our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And don't see it doing anything but getting better.
Yes.
And so it's kind of funny, because every time I hear or see or speak the word better, I get really excited. And until you've been in that mind space, you don't know how many times a day the word better is said.
That's right.
So I'm excited a lot, but it's a good thing. And I'm overwhelmed a little bit, but also eager to see what the future has to hold, and because I just know it's better. And that's another of my elevator speeches, because I want that for everyone. I want everyone to be able to feel that excitement and to have the knowledge that you internally are the one that are truly the captain of your ship. And it's important that you know what's inside of you.
Yes.
To be able to bring it out.
I love that. And I love how you spoke about the word better, because it's true. Now it's evoking a physical reaction from me every time you say that. So now I'm going to be very sensitized to it, and I love it. And Kimberly, thank you so much. Yes. Thank you for coming in today, sharing all the things, because I know we could continue this conversation over and over again, and traveling to College Station to chat with me today. Please, when you return back to Austin and back to your office, please tell all of our friends there at the Texas Workforce Commission, all those wonderful individuals, those professionals, I said thank you.
Yes.
Hello. I wish them my very best, and what admiration I have for them. And for our audience, thank you so much for listening in today. I hope you've had the opportunity to listen to the entire conversation and all of our other conversations on all of our platforms. And again, I just want to thank Kimberly personally for her light, her aspiration, the inspiration that she provides me. I have a new role model before me, and I hope for all of you that you will strive to be better every day. Not just the best, but let's all strive to be better. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.